Before you ride your new Spyder, let's make sure you actually enjoy it because most new riders don't at first, and it's not the bike's fault. Welcome back to the channel. I'm Kevin, low budget Spyder rider, and today I just want to talk to you a little bit about a few things that will make your experience smoother and more comfortable and way more enjoyable. Now, most new riders don't realize how important rider comfort is before you actually start riding. And to me, that's why this is the first thing you should always get dialed in so you can really enjoy your riding experience. Making sure that the seat is comfortable for you, that when you sit in the seat, it feels comfortable, that you're able to sit deep within the pocket of the seat. You have proper lumbar, lower, mid, back support, that when you reach out for the handlebars, your arms and shoulders don't feel strained, that when you place your hands around the grips, you have a nice, relaxed, but firm hold on the handlebars. You want to make sure that the handlebars are adjusted properly to your height. Some riders find the need to add handlebar risers to the handlebars to get that proper feel. Some go with a completely different set of handlebars, like the short reach handlebars or the helix handlebar system. This is how you dial it in to get optimal comfort when you're riding. You want to make sure that your floorboards or your pegs are adjusted properly. Some of these Spyder riding platforms give you the option to adjust the foot pegs. If you have the RT, you see you have very large running boards that you can find a proper seating position. Your knees should be bent but relaxed. Your feet should be planted firmly on your pegs or your running boards when you're riding. It should be a very comfortable ride. Most importantly, you want to see how the bike feels when you're wearing your riding gear. I took my riding gear to the dealership to get the feel of how it would feel when I had my jacket on, whether it's my heavy jacket for cold weather, my light jacket for warmer weather, how the handlebars feel when I'm stretching out in that jacket. Some jackets, depending on the brand, can restrict your movement a little bit more. So you want to have an idea of how that feels when you are sitting on this bike. You want to have an idea of how it feels when you have your riding gloves on and you have your hands on the grips. It's going to be a totally different feel than if you ride without gloves. In my case, as you can see, I added the leather grips. I have slightly small hands, so to me, the stock handlebars were a little bit uncomfortable. So I added those leather grips to give me better comfort as I ride. You want to feel what it's like to twist the throttle with your riding gloves on. And again, if you feel the need to make adjustments, there are aftermarket things that you can add to get that ride dialed in for you. So for me, comfort is always going to be the first thing that you should check or get a feel for before you start to ride. The second thing you want to familiarize yourself with is how to operate as well as the location of the various controls that are on your particular Spyder platform. Whether it's your start and stop switch, your parking brake, where your hazard signals are, your cruise control, generally are located on the throttle side. If you have a newer Spyder, some of the older Spyder tends to have a mixture of those controls between the throttle side and the left side. You want to know if you have audio, how to manipulate the toggle switches to adjust your volume while you're in motion, how to toggle between the various screens on your particular infotainment system on your Spyder, where the switches are located if you have heated grips or a heated seat or an adjustable windscreen, how to operate your high beams. You want to know where that switch is located. You want to familiarize yourself with all of these things before you ride so that while you're riding, you can focus on the road and not have to take your eyes off the road to figure out where something is. You want to familiarize yourself with where your fuses are located in case you have an issue while you're riding. If you have the RT, mine are located up front. You want to know how to access your battery. Mine is also located up in the front. You want to make sure that if you have a new Spyder or even a used Spyder, that you have a toolkit in case you need to access that front hatch to get to your battery. In my case, I added the wing nut screws where I don't necessarily need the tools. I can just twist those off and get direct access to my battery if needed. You want to know where the oil, how to access the oil, where to check the oil on your Spyder. Again, on this RT platform, it's going to be under your rider seat. If you want to know where the valve stem is for your air compressor, if you have the RT, it's located right back there, right up under the rider seat in front of the passenger seat. This is where you would check the oil on the RT, is right here. You want to know what type of oil your Spyder takes. I always keep a small thing of oil when I ride in case I go on a long ride and all of a sudden I get that oil light that pops when I need to add oil. I can do that, so I know where to put it. Knowing where these things are ahead of time will save you a lot of headache when you're under stress and trying to figure out where some of these things are when you're having an emergency. In my case, I carry spare fuses, so if a fuse pops, I make sure I have every fuse that this Spyder has. I make sure I have a spare that I keep in my top trunk. Or in my case, I keep an emergency bag in the saddle bag that has those various things that I probably would need while I'm riding: a tire patch, a tire plug repair kit, an air compressor, a first aid kit, things like that. You want to give those type of things a little bit of thought before you start riding. Again, being prepared will save you a lot of headache later on down the road when you find yourself facing some type of roadway emergency while you're riding. So understanding where to find things and how things operate on your bike is very important. Now for the third thing, let's talk about basic Spyder care and maintenance awareness. Simply put, if you take care of your Spyder, it'll take care of you. So before and after every ride, you want to get in the habit of checking your tire condition and pressure, your fuel level, and any warning lights you may have on startup. You want to practice keeping your Spyder clean. You want to focus on making sure your wheels and brakes are clean, as well as your windshield and mirrors operate as they should. And know this, maintenance isn't just about longevity, it's about safety and performance. You don't necessarily need to be a mechanic, but you do need to stay aware. In my case, I practice constant monitoring of the tire pressure on my Spyder because improper tire pressure can lead to the Spyder not performing properly and making you think that there's something wrong with your bike when it's actually just low tire pressure. Now let's focus on your first ride. For your first ride, it should be short and intentional. You don't necessarily want to go chasing long rides right away. For your first ride, you should focus on keeping it close to home, in low traffic areas, and low stress. You want to focus on things like getting comfortable with turns, practicing smooth stops and takeoffs, and really want to focus on how your body feels after riding. Even 10 to 15 minutes is enough to learn a lot about how you're going to feel about the bike, build confidence in layers, not necessarily all at once. The goal isn't distance, it's control and comfort. Because at this stage of the game, smooth riding equals better performance. That way you can focus on things like gently rolling on and off the throttle, your braking technique, keeping your movements calm and controlled. Because the Spyder responds best when you're smooth, not aggressive. Now as you think ahead while you're riding, this is where you want to start thinking about future performance upgrades. This is not necessarily something you have to rush into, because you want to ride the bike in its stock configuration first so you understand how it accelerates, how it corners, and most importantly, how it brakes under normal and emergency riding conditions. And then later you might consider things like better tires for grip and longevity, possible suspension upgrades for smoother handling, and comfort upgrades like an improved seat, or better grips. But remember, you want to focus on skills first and upgrade second. After all the things I just covered, the simple truth is this. Your first ride isn't about proving anything, it's about building a foundation. If you focus on comfort, smooth control, and understanding your machine, you won't just ride your Spyder, you'll actually connect with it. And that's when riding stops feeling intimidating and starts feeling like freedom. If you found this ownership content helpful, subscribe to the channel, hit the like button. I have more Spyder ownership videos on the way. And remember, live for the experience and definitely enjoy the ride. Peace.